Good evening. How is it that people always sit closest to the exit? It doesn't help the confidence and the self-respect of the speaker. Feel free, feel welcome to move to this side. Anyway, good evening again, and welcome for those who are here for the first time. My name is Rona, and this is the meditation center of the Brahma Kumaris, one of the many centers in the world where we teach meditation, where we give classes in self-awareness and higher consciousness based on the knowledge of Raj Yoga. And this center has been around for 25 years or so on this location. And I've been studying with the Brahma Kumaris for more than 25 years, studying, practicing daily. And tonight's topic on self-respect is the theme. It is always interesting to see who comes for which theme. For which some people doesn't matter what topic, and some people come for specific topics. Tonight's theme, self-respect. So what generally are the thoughts on self-respect? When you think of self-respect, what is it that you think about? Silence? That is possible. Taking care of the self. Limits. How I treat others reflects how I treat myself. Being responsible. Being responsible. If you're disrespectful to others, you're also disrespectful to yourself. Self-love. Very good. Not being taken for granted.
I'm trying not to speak because you don't want to say something. To have other people respect you.
To have people respect you. Compassion. Peace within yourself. Very good. Anything else? Mita, what comes to your mind? Since you're sitting so close to the door. Being aware of what is right and what is not right. Self-esteem. Understanding yourself. Yeah, this actually is not possible, no? To respect yourself if you don't know yourself or understand yourself.
So don't let somebody control your life.
Don't let others. Yeah, you are in charge of your life.
Awareness is very important.
Awareness. Anything else? You can definitely move somewhere else so that you don't need to stretch your neck. Hmm? Knowing who you are. Mm-hmm.
Accepting criticism.
Accepting criticism. Hmm?
Self-respect, the way I look at it is that you are not the body, so you are soul. So if somebody tells you anything, you don't let hurt yourself because this is related to body.
You don't identify with the body, so
Right.
whatever is being said, you don't take it personal.
Right. So your self-respect stays stable.
Stable. Self-acceptance. Mm.
I still think for me, self-respect is not having anybody disrespect me. I respect myself. I won't be abused.
Not being affected by other people's opinion. Any other thoughts?
Positive thoughts about yourself.
Having positive thoughts about self. Very good.
Forgiving yourself. Forgiving yourself.
Forgiving the self. Forgiving the. We just said no one should sit too close to the door. Come, don't worry. That's still too close to the door. Okay. Any other thoughts? Okay. This word, self-respect, it is actually a word made of two words, no? Self and respect. And both these words are like a whole world in itself. And maybe we should start with the easiest one, respect. What does it mean, respect? Respect means to value. Respect means to appreciate. Respect means to honor. Respect means that you treat it with dignity, with justice. Self-respect means to care for and to take care of. All of those things means that word respects entails all of that. It means love also. And the other word, self, that's a bit more complicated. What and who is this self? So how can you care for, love, appreciate, honor, treat with dignity the self? That is, so many of the things that have been said fall in that category. So, first of all, we need to be a bit more clear, what is this self, before we can even respect or love or appreciate. Because otherwise, who or what are we loving and appreciating and caring? So we will go into that for a few minutes first, and then we will go into self-respect and how to go about it. So what and who is this self that we are wanting to respect or have respect for? If you have to describe yourself, what does this word self means? Who is this self? What is this self? Soul within you. So who is that you? And what is the soul? It is the one and the same? Okay. Huh? The person who you are. Okay, so who is that? Self is free of ego and attachments. It's not so easy, no? To when you really think about it, who is this self? No? Okay, we look in the mirror and we say, that is me. So what is it that you see in the mirror? Yourself? You see the body. Okay. You see the physical image. Is that the self? Not fully, at least not fully, at the very least. So what is that self then? Because when we talk about self-respect, we do not only talk about respecting the body. Understand? You do respect the body and you do appreciate the body and you do take care of the body, but when you talk about self-respect, you're not only talking about taking care of the body. The soul, very good. Your heart, so what is your heart? Pump. The feelings, okay. Ego there. Okay. I'll just use the board for some simple sketches, just to make it visual. So when we talk about this self, then we first start with the body. And I'm not meaning to defame anyone, but sketch of the body. So is this the self?
It's the body.
That's the body. Okay, very good. So what else is the self?
It's the soul within.
Soul within. So what is the soul?
Existence.
Existence.
Life.
Life.
Our values.
Values. Values. Mind. What else?
Spirit.
Spirit. So how would you define spirit? Timeless spirit. One simple way to say this is the body and there is the experiencer. Who is not the body, the one who is experiencing everything. Through the body or not through the body, but there is an experiencer there. One who has certain awareness. The one who has awareness. awareness means there is awareness of time, there's awareness of place, there is awareness of what you want to do. No? Someone who is...
Is that the same as the mind?
Not necessarily, not necessarily. Someone who is thinking.
That is the mind.
Someone who is feeling. Someone who is conscious or aware. And this is separate from the body. True or not? Just give me a second, no? I think. Come by. I will ask her to bring it back. Your sister will pick up your phone. Okay, I have to. Sorry. Okay, so the one who is experiencing everything, the one who is thinking, the one who is feeling, the one who is aware, is separate from the body. No? So when we're talking about self, at least this should also be taken into consideration, not just the body. Body is like the vehicle of the experiencer. And mind is just one part of the experiencer. The mind is that part where thoughts are produced. But we are not just thoughts. There are memories, there are habits and tendencies from the past. There are hopes for the future, there are intentions, there is also the part of us that discerns and decides, the intellect. All of that is part of the, you could say inner being is another word, or soul. And so when we talk about self, all of this is self. Now, how can we have respect for self?
By having good feelings and thoughts.
Yeah, very good. Someone was saying already, no? If I have positive thoughts, or even noble thoughts, or elevated thoughts, there will be a natural respect for the self. Isn't it? But if I'm always thinking in a negative way, complaining, nagging, criticizing, anxious, anxiety, and stressed out, and blaming, and complaining, and the list is long, will I respect myself?
I respect others.
I would, if I'm already complaining and nagging and criticizing, that's not, or blaming, that's not really respect towards others, first of all. But also, if that is what I'm doing inside, will I appreciate myself? Not truly. No? Not truly. So, one easy way to respect yourself is to enhance the quality of your thinking. Then there will, in a very simple way, more appreciation for self. Isn't it? Another thing is our actions.
For forgiving others.
Our actions, if we have actions, whether forgiving or not forgiving, if we have actions that are of high quality, will we respect ourselves? Of high quality.
Yes.
If you act in a way that is noble, in a way that is positive, you will naturally, very quickly, feel good about yourself, isn't it?
Also, accept who they are, who the people. Accept
Yeah, that is one form of an act that is positive. But it doesn't have to be like that. Only those kind of things. No, if there is garbage on the street and you pick it up and you put it in the bin, how do you feel about yourself?
I need to wash it.
Of course, you will wash your hand, but how will you feel about yourself inside? At least you will not feel negative. At least you will not feel, oh, you are not worth nothing. You will feel this is a good deed. And these are simple things in everyday situation. Now, if you are at your friend's house or some family house and there was a party, and you help clean up, you help do the dishes,
After party.
instead of you walking out and just taking. Now, there is a difference in how you will feel. Now, if you're having an attitude of contributing, if you're having an attitude of cooperating, you will, at the end of it, feel better about yourself.
But I think it should be the self-respect first, and then, you need to have self-respect first, and then everything else outside.
I don't think it is necessary. You can motivate yourself to do actions that are good, and then you are proud of yourself. Proud may be a big word, but I mean, so if there is no self-respect, but what does that tell me of the quality of my thinking and the quality of my actions? At least I will not feel they are of high value, isn't it? But let alone whether I'm respecting anybody else or not anybody, however, whatever. But if I am having high quality of thoughts and high quality of actions, I will feel good about myself. So a very simple, easy way to up your self-esteem and self-respect is have attention for the quality of your thinking and have attention on the quality of your actions. And you always have choices in mundane situation. In a mundane situation, you're in the subway and some person who cannot properly walk comes in and you get up and you give your seat. These are simple things, or you smile back. So we can, in very simple ways, generate a higher quality of thinking and a higher quality of acting. And if we do that, then we will feel better about ourselves. And this is irrespective of what others do and think. Isn't that? It's irrespective of what they even say. So, a simple way to I can't find the right word. Increase is the word. Your sense of self-esteem is to pay attention to these things. Now, a while ago, I think some 10 years ago, maybe a bit longer, there was a, yes? Yeah, I'm using it synonymously. Yeah. A while ago, I think about 15 years ago or so, there was the government put aside $1 billion for research around mental illnesses in America, because the biggest increase of illness is in the area of mental health, and this is a worldwide tendency. But America is leading in a not very, and that is not honorable thing. So there was a big concern, or is a big concern still. And the lady who is leading that project into what are causes and what are characteristics, and this whole area of positive psychology and the science of happiness has also come out of that, as an offshoot of that research and that concern around mental health. One of the things she said is one of the characteristics of people, that there are always a group of people who don't have mental illness. So in society there are groups who constantly have mental illnesses. There is a group who have occasionally some mental, but there is always a group of people who never fall into some depression or whatever. And what she says is one of the characteristics of those people is that they have a nature of appreciation and a nature of gratitude, which is very interesting to know. So this tendency to appreciate simple things, this tendency to feel gratitude for simple things, this is a sign of internal health. And this is also a characteristic or a quality that will help us appreciate ourselves better once we have developed that. Allowed that to flourish. And this has very much to do with quality of thinking also. Now, to give a simple example, today, I'm sure there were 100 things that you can complain about of today. True? to start with the rain. True? And then there's public transport, and there are people, and there is a system, and whatever. And I'm sure you can make easily a list of 100 things to complain about. True? But when you go, and not only that, many of those things continue to repeat in our mind. True or not? Cyclical thoughts about those things. Or people, maybe. Same thing, same thing, same thing. But so that list goes over and over in our head. So how do we feel about that? Bad. Now, can you make every day, this was last week's homework also, can you make every day a list of things that you are grateful for? And when you do that, how do you feel about yourself? How did that? And those things are also there to be grateful for. Even the rain you could be grateful for. Actually, the rain is a wonder in itself. Water falling from the sky. It's just a matter of how you look at it. Now, to generate that attitude of appreciation and that attitude of having attention for things to be grateful for, we know all those other things are there also. But if we focus in on them, if we zoom in on them, we actually give them energy. And we ourselves don't feel good about it, about ourselves doing that.
Can I tell you a quick story about that? That it's an interpretation. Several years ago, 5 people from my company were going up to an ashram with Ananta's 3-year-old son, and it was raining very heavily. And the 5 men were complaining about the rain. And after a while, his 3-year-old son said, "You know, it's only water."
It's only water. So all of these things that we are talking about, we're talking about our thinking process, but also we're talking about quality of our thinking and quality of action. No? So this is an area, if we pay attention to this area, we can very easily have a higher sense of respect for self. And this potential to elevate mundane, everyday actions, to this ability to transcend superficial thinking about everyday things. Not like, for example, another area is the subway. We can easily see it as something very mundane. No? And we go in and go out in a very mundane consciousness. And we use it in a very mundane consciousness. But that same action, that same, you go into the subway, you take the subway, you go home or wherever, you can do it with appreciation. Appreciation for all those who have put their intelligence in that network. All those who continue to put their intelligence and their effort and their energy in that network. millions and millions of people on a daily basis benefit from that system. Isn't it a wonder? Okay, it comes late, sometimes it fails, but still. Now, if you take the subway in that mindset, you have elevated that action. And the quality of your experience is different when you do that. And also the quality, the appreciation for self when you do that is higher. But we have kind of fallen into a culture where we are numb. Is that the right word? Numb? Kind of... insensitive and desensitized, and we're living in a mode, like zombie kind of. We do, whatever is there. Not the Empire State Building is a block away. In itself, this is a man-made wonder. It was made almost 100 years ago, the idea, and it was 100 stories with the technology at that time. They built it, and it's still standing. And it's still one of the most prominent, dominant buildings in New York City. And we walk past as if... We might even complain about all these tourists, whatever. You understand? So, these are daily things, everyday, mundane situations, but our mindset decides our experience. Now, if there is a higher sense of appreciation for things and for people, your sense of self-respect and value for self will be higher, and you will treat others accordingly. And those who don't treat you with respect, it will not lower your self-respect. But you will be free from expecting to be respected, because you are having a full, healthy, complete sense of self-respect. You don't need another to feel respected. Yeah. Yeah. But self-respect will also not, how to say that? You will not allow being mistreated either. You will be able to put limits. You will be able to say no when need to say no. You will be able to say yes when need to say yes, but without damaging or hurting the self. Not from hate or anger or revenge, but from love. This is not right. So this whole area of self-respect, which is very, very useful to internalize for ourselves, it doesn't really have anything to do with external things. It doesn't have to do with how much you earn, or how much you own, or who says what to you, or who doesn't say to you. It doesn't even have much to do with how the physical appearance is, because all those things can anytime fluctuate and is not in your hand. No. You cannot stop the gray hair from coming. You cannot stop the wrinkles. Well, you can put Botox and whatever, but still, it is not the true the true natural look. So, true self-respect doesn't have to do with external things, but it has to do with the quality of your inner world and the qualities and the values and the principles by which you live. And those can be there regardless of how others treat you. Those can be high regardless of external situations or position or possession. You want to say anything so far? Yeah.
Would you be able to enlighten me about when you have emotions like sadness and you're trying to preserve your self-esteem and high quality thinking? Because it obviously, I think, affects most people, affects me greatly, and depends on the level of sadness. So one of the things, one of the things I would do would be maybe prayer.
Yeah.
But what are the things that you would do?
Sadness of self or sadness of others?
When you're affected with sadness in your
Yeah, you yourself are sad.
It could be about sadness about yourself or sadness from trying to do someone else. The fact is you feel sad.
You are sad. That is what you mean. Yeah, whatever the reason.
Would you be able to enlighten us or me about how do you handle the emotion of sadness when you're trying to preserve positive thinking?
There are two aspects in that. First of all, the only way, if there are emotions of sadness, to come out of that is the opposite emotions. No? So if there is sadness, that will only go away when there are emotions of joy coming. Or if there is feelings of hate, the only way to combat that is with feelings of love. Now, if there is restlessness and peacelessness and stress, the way to heal from that is to experience the opposite, peace. And so if there is sadness, sadness means there is joy is being blocked for whatever reason. And to experience that joy again, that becomes the task, you could say, or the challenge, or the duty at hand, the solution that we need to do. Now, for that, there are two options. One is, maybe we need to shift our perspective on that, what we feel sad about. Sometimes there is a certain situation and you're having certain feelings about it, but when you look at it from a different angle, your feelings change. And sometimes your feeling may be completely the opposite of what you first felt when you had the initial perspective. You understand what I'm trying to say? I'm sometimes a bit dramatic, so the examples coming to mind are a bit overly dramatic. But I'm trying to think of a simpler example. A friend uh, she used to work for a family company, and many years she was in that company, and all of a sudden the behavior of the boss changes. And he becomes a bit nagging and complaining and irritative, unpleasant to work with. And at some stage she has enough of it. She can't take it anymore, and she begins to hate him. I have very unpleasant feelings for him, and she's about to look for another job. And she meets another friend of hers who tells her about her good friend who has cancer and is dying. And she says, but her husband is such a good man. They have 3 children. And he looks after her, he looks after the children. And they have a company, a family company, and he takes care of all of it. He doesn't want her to go into, hospice. He doesn't want the children to be taken care of by strangers or other people. He takes care of all of them. He hardly sleeps. He is a wreck, but he does it all out of love. So this lady, my friend who works for that company, finds out that her friend is friends with the wife of her boss. So that lady is talking about her boss. And the boss kept all of this quiet. Nobody knew in the company that his wife is sick. Nobody knew what was happening. And so when she found out, her thoughts and her feelings towards him changed. He is still extremely unpleasant. He is still irritable. He is still nagging. He is still criticizing. But she looks at him differently now because she sees something bigger. This is one example. But every situation, we can always aim to see a bigger picture. And easier we are able to see a bigger picture, easier our feelings can change. And easier also it is to maybe find something that is opposite to sadness. Last week we were also thinking, more you have a view, a distant view, not a distant view, a detached view, more easier it is to see the bigger picture. And then you can appreciate better. You remember the example of the flowers? If you put your nose in here, it is more difficult to appreciate the whole bouquet than if you watch from this perspective. A butterfly, when you look at it, it is beautiful. But when you want to grab it, you crush it. No? So many things, where more we are able to step back and see a bigger picture, it is easier to perceive different dynamics. Now, sadness is one of those emotions that overwhelms us. But sadness is also an emotion that is often there because we do not see a bigger picture. And so to come out of that, it is useful to practice in moments when we are good, to step back, to reflect more deeply, to play with a more broader perspective on life, on relationships, on work, on finances, on health, on all the different things that our life is, that is part of our life. More we are able to step back, more we create that habit within us, then when situations happen, we are easily able to step back. And that is an easy way. Easy if you are trained, if you have cultivated that habit to step back, to shift your feelings, at least to come out of the debilitating and paralyzing feelings and atmosphere of sadness. So that is one thing. Learn this habit to step back and internally, no? Try and see a bigger picture. And one easy way that I do for myself to step back is, if there is something that has happened, I think, will this matter in 10 years' time? No, there will be things that will matter, but there are lots of things will not matter in 10 years' times. And even big things might definitely be much less heavy 10 years from now. So that is, so why am I at this moment in time making such a big deal of it? That is one way how I work. But another thing that I do is, in my mind, I think from the perspective of the moon. Is this a big thing? Meaning the universe will not end. But we are getting sucked in many times in situations or in interactions or certain dynamics, and it is as if there is nothing else anymore. And this happens to me, this happens to many of us. If we don't strengthen that capacity to step back. The other aspect is, it is our natural nature. It is the natural nature of the inner being to be joyful. Happiness and joy and feeling of fun is natural for us. It is innate. No, babies, unless they are provoked, they are naturally cheerful, no? Playful, joyful, laughing. It is the natural nature, innate nature of us, of the soul, of the inner being. But somehow, over time, we have blocked that. And you know what blocks that? Attachments. Attachments and ego that come out of that. And we have generated so many attachments and so many egos, and we think that is normal, and then they make us suffer. Not to give a simple example, my own example. As a child growing up in the tropics, I never used to like shoes. I used to feel this is jail for my feet. So as a child, I mean like 5, 6, 7 years of age, wherever we would go, I would go barefoot. And my mother always said, your slipper, your slipper. But even slipper, I used to feel this is a... And so I would forget them everywhere. I would not come home bare feet, things like that. And going to school was nice, except for the shoe thing, because you had to put your feet in shoe. And a sense of freedom was connected somehow with shoes for me, or no shoes. And I did not like, and I had no interest in shoes at all. So, growing up, when you reach 12, 13, 14, then your friends tell you, no, you should have shoes, no, you have to have shoes. If you don't have shoes and you don't have nice shoes, you will not get married, and you will, all those nonsense things. You have to look proper, and you have to have this color shoe with this color, and matching shoe, and shoe with heels, and whatever. So now I started to believe I need shoes. I really want shoes. I cannot be without shoes, because otherwise the disaster, I might not get married. So in my mind there was like this whole thing going on, and now I'm nagging my mother to give me shoes. Mother, I want these shoes. Mother this, mother that. What happened? The freedom and the joy is gone. And now there were these worries about shoes. Every Friday, which shoe will I wear to go to the movies or wherever we would go. So in the mind, there is a belief system created. I need shoes. I want shoes. I desire shoes. And even I had shoes, it was not good enough, because I did not have the other color. And I did not have the other metal. So the carefree nature was gone. And not because of shoes, but because of my shift of attitude internally. A growing attachment and desires, and that did not allow me to experience the joy and the freedom and the peace that was there before, with or without shoe. This is a simple example, but this is what happens to us. So our innate nature is one of joy. Our innate nature is one of peace. Our innate nature is one of freedom. Our innate nature is one of being secure, the soul. No? But we create habits and belief systems and attachments and identifications and ego, and that blocks. And then there is either sadness or frustration or anger or anxiety or insecurity. And then those emotions can become so strong and overwhelming that it completely blocks our nature, and we sometimes cannot even get in touch with it anymore. And this is where meditation is one of the tools that is very useful. In silence, mentally stepping back and allowing your innate nature to be experienced again as a soul, an eternal, immortal, divine being. Allowing those feelings to emerge again. And experience that, and experience those feelings again. But meditation is not the only thing. It requires many different dynamics, paying attention to the quality of your thought, paying attention to quality of action, understanding deeper spiritual laws of life, all of that is required to come back to that innate state.
I like the example of a baby being joyful, but a baby at times is sad too.
Mhm.
Cries when it's hungry or when.
Yeah, but in babies you see very clearly they are sad when there is something specific not right or where there's illness. But the natural nature doesn't need anything to be joyful. That is what I was meaning. A baby naturally plays. If it doesn't play, it means it is sick, the baby is sick or something happened. So the analogy was our innate, it is part of our innate nature.
So baby has fewer needs, needs
Yeah. No, just basic things of survival, but hasn't gone into those attachments.
So we're attached to things, not just people.
Hmm.
So we need more than the, right?
Well, we have grown into the belief that we need more. We have grown into that belief that we need more.
That we need less when we have.
Yeah. Or at least not get so attached and trapped in those things that it blocks our original nature. Another, time runs so quickly. Another aspect of self-respect is when your innate potential, when your talents are able to be expressed, when you are able to express it. No? Fearless is part of it, yeah. But all of us, we have certain talents, we have certain qualities, and when they are not being used or when they are not expressed, you kind of feel stuck or not used or not or useless maybe even. And or you feel that there is something more that could happen, but it is not happening. And one thing that blocks our creativity, our talented nature, is again our thoughts. If we observe our thoughts, many of our thoughts are cyclical. Have you noticed that? Same thoughts come again and again and again and again and again and again and again. A friend of mine gave an example. Say in a city, if 90% of the traffic goes in circles, what will happen? The city will shut down. Nothing will happen ultimately. No, everyone just in circle. No one goes anywhere. Nothing will happen. In the city will be shut down. So in the same way here also, if your thoughts are cyclical, nothing new will happen. Nothing creative. Your creativity gets blocked. New ideas get thrown out because the cyclical thoughts are running all over the place. But positive thoughts are in your control, then they won't be cyclical. You would not call it cyclical thoughts. Because that is you're controlling. And if other thoughts are needed, that are also positive maybe, you will be able to steer it away in a different direction. But these cyclical thoughts, because anything cyclical in the long run in terms of thoughts, even if there is a thought, for example, about some project at work, which is not negative, but when you're at home, you don't need to think about that. Cyclical thought means it will continue to go on even if you're not at work. Yeah, it's useless thinking. Same again and again and again and again and again. This is tremendous energy waste. All your thoughts are energy, and it continues to go in circles. So there is no energy for other things. Your skills, your talents, even if there is a thought brought in, it is thrown out because the others are overriding it. So, to come out of that, we need a bit more balanced life. And with balanced life, I mean there are arts, no? So for example, the art to be serious has to be balanced out with the fun and playfulness. But many times there is no balance. The art to love, but also to be wise. The art to be rational has to be balanced with intuitive, perceiving and feeling. Both are needed. And this unbalanced life sucks us into certain things, and then thoughts are not free. Now we get too emotional about one thing, or passionate, or serious, completely attached, and then we cannot think about anything or anyone else anymore, the whole thing, as if there's nothing else. Out of balance. It takes all our energy away. And then there is no space to be, creative. There is no space to allow talents to emerge or something new. Because you get totally single-minded, focused, sucked into one thing. And that governs your mind. Does it happen in New York City? Never. Now, when is it that we are most balanced in our personality? Maybe when we sleep, maybe yes. Huh? When we're happy? When we meditate? When we play. When we play. Or sports, when you play a game, there is the energy of a certain seriousness and the rules and the technique, but at the same time you're having fun. And whether you lose or not lose or win, ultimately it doesn't matter. The pure energy of a game is like that. You play for fun, but you use all your wisdom, your intelligence, you do all your best. But you're having fun, and ultimately whoever wins is fine. That kind of energy brings out the best in us.
Fun should not be the physical pleasure of fun.
No, doesn't. Sometimes it is physical, but it is not. No. In a game or in sport, you could even physically get little bit bruised and thing. Yeah, it is internal. Yeah. Then people run the marathon for fun. They're having fun, but it is not that it is bed of roses. So this energy, this balanced energy, we need to bring back. And one way to do that is to adopt the attitude towards life in general, as the soul, the inner being, is playing a game. And you use all your skills, you use all your talents. But ultimately, you will still be a soul with all your qualities. Think about it. But we have forgotten this ability to play with life and to play life. And everything has become such a headache. Headache.
Is it play to be like a hobby? Like maybe
Yeah.
Like painting or paint. You don't have to be sport. My hobby is sports.
Yeah.
But my mom loves swimming.
Yeah. Can be a hobby also. Hobby. Yeah, or games. Just play. What is it? I don't know. Yes, Monopoly, Scrabble, or Snakes and Ladders, or whatever. You know those. Yeah. No, I'm not. Well, if you do, it is not. Actually, if you are a very, what is it, left brain oriented person, it is good to do some games. Even physical games. Yeah. No, but if you are this balance, this could help to bring you more in balance. But of course, the bigger perspective is we can adopt the attitude of war towards life. We can adopt the attitude of eternal suffering towards life. We can adopt the attitude of victim towards life. You can also play with the attitude of game. Play with it. No. No, I don't mean that, because I think many women are also left brain and there are men who are right brain. No, I don't mean male. But I think both male and female are out of balance, whichever brain is dominant. And we need to learn to balance it again. And these are some thoughts. This is a vast topic, but discover true self again, which meditation and a spiritual journey and knowledge helps in that. And pay attention to quality of thoughts and pay attention to quality of actions. And more you grow spiritually, more you understand spirituality and the laws that govern life, you will also know better what are high quality thoughts and what are high quality actions.
So when there is self-respect, there's no disrespect.
Not natural, no. Of course, if there's self-respect naturally, there will not be disrespect. And how you treat yourself, that is how you will naturally treat others. How you feel about yourself and what you know of true self, you will know that others are also that. deep behind.
So the bullies are the ones that are disrespecting themselves. The bullies.
Yeah, if you feel loved, and if you feel love, will you bully? You will give love, no? Naturally.
Gratitude, you were talking about gratitude and gratitude list.
Mm.
Good, so we focus on the
Yeah,
things that
so
are good and bad.
yeah, so again, some few little tips for homework is every day try to create a routine where you reflect on the true self, the inner being, the experiencer, and try and grasp those innate experiences. What is that mind like that is playful? That mind that can see the bigger picture. Make time every day to step back and explore the inner being. And if you can do it in the morning and the evening, better. And take 5-10 minutes, truly become quiet. An introvert, withdraw, step back, and discover the inner being. Another homework, of course, is this gratitude list. Another thing that is useful is during the day, I play with this concept of seeing life as a game. Now, and in a game, a good game has challenges. A good game has sometimes big challenges. But what do those challenges do? They make you re-evaluate your basic understandings. They make you stronger in the sense that you have to bring out the best in you to overcome. So that is a good thing, no? Yeah. Yeah. So play with these thoughts. Okay. Let's have a few moments of let's take a few moments to consciously step back and become aware of the inner world. And just try and understand the self from a spiritual angle. There is the outer world and relationships and positions and possessions, and there's the body. But there is the non-physical self, the invisible experiencer, living, conscious, thinking being. soul. And there is a whole world within my own being. And I just try and grasp the feelings of that clean, pure, innate self. Free, secure, playful, being of light. And I just allow this relaxation. Pure, quiet, free, timeless self. Timeless being of light. And as we go through the rest of the evening, we aim to stay with this more introverted state. Thank you. Om Shanti.